This is Nihal Sarin. He's a top 5 player in blitz chess in the entire world on chess.com. But look at what this young man, 11-year-old Faustino Oro, just did to him. He opens with the cool and calm knight f3, goes on to pummel him with 4 brilliancies in one game. I'm not joking. This is the FIDE Teams Rapid event. Wow, this is out of this world good. Now Nihal goes for a bit of b6 action. Is he going to fianchetto that rook? No, sanity prevails. The pawn is hit. Defended now. e6 and Oro takes the full centre here. So Nihal fights back in that hyper-modern style here. Pawns defended, attacked once more and defended again. You just don't get this insight on other chess channels. Do consider subscribing. Really helps my self-esteem. You can see I'm struggling. Look at the shirt. Now we see pawn d6 and both players castle. Quick king safety high 5. We love to see it. Great etiquette. Queen e2 and c5 starts to look a bit Sicilian-y. So we'd see takes there. Always capture towards the centre unless it's a bad move. And now knight d1. Love the aggressive intentions. Watch this. The knight develops. c3 kicks this guy back. Suddenly looking a little clumsy. Makes you wonder, should you have chopped off when you had the chance? And now f4. Oro roars. I mean, how is this guy an international master at 11? He could be the youngest GM ever. He's on track. Now we see bishop c7 and this is an instructive moment because black wants to go d5 where possible, so the best move for white is an immediate pawn c4. By the way, if you want to learn key chess principles like this, positional stuff, openings, middle games, end games, check out the Remote Chess Academy. I've been banging on about them for years, but like twice a year, Black Friday, Father's Day, they do this insane discount, up to 80% off in the entire shop. The super bundle going for a stupid price right now. So many courses in one whole set, but there's other great bits. Road to 2000, really good stuff. GM Igor Smirnov, used it many times myself down the years. You know, I was a chess fan before a terrible chess YouTuber. Have a look, love that stuff. Big discount, ends in like 2 days. So king h1 is now played and it gives black the opportunity to go e5, f5 and d5. Bang, you're liberating stuff. You're getting this break in. It's a huge turning point. But not played. Nihal goes a5 here. All of these moves get in the miss because neither player is stumbling on this idea until now. We get that explosive c4 and it's just binding Nihal's position like an egg. He plays h6, b3, and now he just starts with this pony maneuver, but it's very passive. Knight c3, knight c6. Yes, he's getting some squares, but look at this. Knight b5 covers that central one, and e5 is played. Look at this. f5 and wow, Nihal's entire army frozen like the former world champion Childeren. This is tough. What to do but eat a bag of nuts. He does centralize that steed. Now we see queen e3 just playing around it. Do you take? Tricky decision. Nihal decides no. He goes rook lift. Now we see rook b1 played, you know, preparing to move the knight. There's an attack here. Bishop b8. And he's got all the time in the world now to just improve the pieces. He plays Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one, overprotects the centre, prepares to rotate this guy. A seahorse is spawned, and what to do? Nihal's thrashing. This rook lifts, love it. The knight comes back. There's a sign of a difficult position, and knight f1 goes for the rotation. Real grandmasterly play, even though he's only an international master. And here's the moment we've been waiting for. The first brilliancy. It's good night, God bless Kingy. What would you play in this position? Well done if you saw the move of bishop takes on h6. I mean, what to say about that move?
It's an absolute banger. It's a game changer.
Now, what do we see in response? Takes, of course. Queen recaptures. How can you get away with this? You know, just given a piece for 2 pawns. Well, look at these guys. They're in Siberia. They can't defend. If you try queen e7 to cover the knight, then there's the rook lift, and you're in a world of pain. It leads to mate or big material loss. You know, this is now the best move. So that's why queen e7 doesn't work. If you try and step back, there's f6. You're running into the old lolly checkmate, not ideal. So we come back here, d5 was played, and it's the best move. You open up some lateral defense, and you can technically take with the pawn here, actually. Won't go down that whole line, though, because we see a check, a more human way to play. Now the king sidesteps. You could rook lift, but the knight does always tuck back. f6 is coming, queen defends. So instead, we see takes on d5. Still keeps advantage, even if not the favourite engine move. The knight tucks back here, queen h5, and bishop d8, desperately defending some dark squares. Now it offers Faustino the opportunity to take here, pawn recaptures, and then either win this exchange, or this is actually even stronger, picking up this rook on e8 and then achieving b4. This is still good for white, standing better, significantly better, but okay, Oro doesn't want the exchange here. Instead, he just plays knight e3. Love the cool, calm chess understanding. He knows how huge his long-term attack is. By the way, apologies for how nasal I sound. I've got the hay fever stuff, the allergies killing me right now. Rook g8 was played in the game here. And knight g4 rotates around, hits the center, threatens some hops here, you know, converging. This guy's so dead, can't help with the defense in any way. So we see this one, bang, a good move actually. Gives the exchange, but allows some breathing room around the king. And rook h6 now switches over. Oro keeps attacking here. The knight enters the game. The queen retreats and the center's under fire, but a great move by Nihal. He just plays king h7, and a less experienced player might dive in here, but just not the move. Not only could this possibly be on the cards in future, but this is an immediate game changer, because you crash through, right? Tables have full turned, anything could happen now. Black comes in on the dark squares. Let's run it back. That wasn't played. Instead, knight takes on d4, and the simple pawn recaptures is actually best. Keeps the game roughly level, apparently, but only if you find this crazy move, bishop takes on d5. Does make sense when you look at it. We talked about how bad that piece is, and you now get this duo of pawns rumbling. You open the dark squares for the bishop, the rook's converging, the knight's hopping. It's counterplay, baby. So that would have been the way to go, but knight h5 played. Now the queen saves itself, the knight drops, and if you go b4, it's the best way to go. However, g3 first played. Worried about the knight hopping here. You can't take, or queen takes. You know, there could have been some pin problems otherwise, but what Nihal should now do is queen d6. Really important idea, blockading the b4 pawn push. And then it's not so easy for white. This bishop's a little frozen here. But bishop g5 played immediately. Very natural idea. But before Nihal can carry on with his plan, Faustino liberates. If you take here, fine, but after captures, there's an attack on the bishop. You've got some problems. Now it's defended, but the pawn can start running. The other rook can come. Similar to the game, though. We see takes, rook recaptures, bishop e3. That one's no longer a bishop, a bit of a pope. But you can just play around it on the light squares, and black is now feeling the full force of Faustino's invasion. a5, queen d8 hits the pawn, looks for counterplay on the dark squares, but rook b6 shuts it down and sets up tension between these two cannons. You cannot take, or there's the beautiful intermezzo. Queen takes on h5, of course. Now the bit I missed when I was watching this live is, hang on, you can't do this, the rook blocks, but you crash through here, and white's doing absolutely great with the pressure down here, the running pawn. The bishop could join the party one day. It's a huge attack. So we run it back, no rook takes, knight f6, great defensive try, king g2 played, queen c7, and now the a pawn can be run down the board here. But I love how Faustino has the presence of mind to switch plans by simply playing rook c6, and he's looking to put black in jail. You know, if you play queen d8 to stay with the bishop, overprotects the horsey. Well, then there's this pin and win. The bishop drops anyway. You know, if you went here, there were different problems with the pawn running, supported by the bishop. So because of this, Nihal just gives up the bishop here after taking the pawn, goes for this counterplay check, and it's probably his best try. However, there's a queen block. White's absolutely fine. You could take off the queens, then take the pawn, but Nihal goes for this tricky move, defending his queen. If takes, you remove the defender, so we therefore see takes, knight recaptures, and with the rook under fire, rook b7's looking so natural. Hit that 7th heaven, run the pawns, and it is a great move. But I love how Faustino plays here. He instead picks up the pawn and pushes forward with f6 check. I mean, that is beautiful. It's up there with this stunning Hawaiian shirt, right? We now see e4 covering, and it hits two things, the bishop and the rook on b1. How are you dealing with both of those threats? Well, this is what Faustino's seen. He's blitzing this out low on time, 10-second increment. He plays the move, pawn d6 here, and he's saying, fine, take my bishop. This guy's running way too fast. It's in the delivery suite. We can see the head. Rook recaptures. It's going to be a girl. If you now go rook d6, well, anyway, the pawn pushes. You make the queen and you lose a rook. You have to give it up. So what does Nihal play? He tries this check. King h3 played and bishop g5. Bouncing around to the square like that. And then he wants his own counterplay, of course. So Faustino doesn't rush it. He lifts the rook into the b5 square, trying to take off the bishop. So Nihal plays this great tricky response, and it's pawn f5. You shut down this diagonal, you bolster your center, pawn supported by the rook, you've cut the connection so there's no attack. If you push, we're taken, but then black's got all this counterplay. Knight f3's coming with checkmating ideas. The g4 square's been taken. This is very dangerous. How would you tiptoe your way through? Well, you're about to see the first of 3 brilliancies, and it starts with rook b7.
The same missed.
And of course, they're all called brilliancies because you just keep leaving this bishop hanging. So let's have a look at that. Well, now you make the queen, and with check. This is the key thing. So black can't capture. You very quickly get checkmated. One sample line. So because of that, the king steps up here, and I really thought we'd see rook g8 check. And this is the top way to play. Looks such a simple way to continue because you just remove the defender by force, make the queen, win the game, right? Leads to a checkmate. If, by the way, you tried to step here, you can still force that line with this. If the king steps here, you run into this same problem. But okay, we didn't see it. Instead, we saw king g6, rook c6 check. Now the king hides out here, but another brilliant move. The computer loving it, leaving the bishop hanging every time. Rook b8, swinging around, now looking to hunt the king. It's in jail, right? It's got no squares, so all you need to do is land a check. That's why bishop e7, to give the king a square, stay with this queening square, but now check's played, king g5, another check, a bit of tickle, everyone's having a great time, and the fourth brilliancy of this game, rook g to g6. Other great moves too, and you're forcing through the checkmate. You simply want to do this, this, and this, and the king is mated. If you try and give room with f4, then you can play g4, mate. Love that line. So what do we see in the game? The absolute desperado. Rook takes on h2 check. King recaptures. Pawn takes. But now the cool and calm. Icing on the cake. King h3. And here we see resignation. The trap is set. It's unavoidable. If you push, we push and mate. If you try and cover the square like this, then you mate the queen. Quickly lead to a checkmate, just like this. So there's nothing to be done. Nihal proffers his hand, and Oro scores a stunning win over the world's number 4 blitz player on chess.com right now. Hope you enjoyed this one. Check out the Remote Chess Academy. Stunning Father's Day discount right now. Won't be lasting long. And if you want to see another incredible game of chess played in this tournament, have a look at this battle between Ali Reza and Nodebek. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you soon. Cheers.